Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 29 of Food is a Conversation Alumni Edition. I'm just going to bring my guest in here now. So, this is an interview series where we take in some of the alumni from the Future Food Institute programs. So, these individuals are coming from a master's program, a boot camp, in person or digital, and we take them in for a quick chat. They're very diverse, interesting people who are all doing powerful work in the world of sustainability and eco-friendliness. So I'm just going to try and bring my guest in here now. Excuse me. Just one moment, please. So our guest today, Amanda, is from Indonesia. And just one moment now. I think we nearly have her. Okay, 1 second. So, I believe she is just getting in here now. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, how are you, Jeff?
Great, thanks. How are you?
Okay, good. What time is it now in your
So,
place?
it's now 8:30 a.m. Well, what about you? It's 1:30, right?
1:30 p.m. in Jakarta, Indonesia.
Yes, it's such a pleasure to have you with us, Amanda. Thanks a million for joining us and taking the time.
Thank you.
Yes, so myself and Amanda, actually, same as Gyan last week, we met each other in the digital boot camp in July, and that was a fantastic experience. It was great to get to meet people like Amanda, people like Gyan, and everybody else. So that was fantastic. How have you been since the boot camp, Amanda? Everything good?
Yeah, and more active actually after the boot camp because
Yeah.
there are lots of inspiration, knowledge, network from the boot camp.
Yes. And so I will, just because I'm conscious of the time here, I'm going to jump straight into these questions, if that's okay with you, Amanda.
Sure.
Perfect. So, how did you originally become a food and climate shaper, and how did you find the Future Food Network first day?
Well, actually, it's an exciting last-minute opportunity. You
Okay.
know, I'm a writer for a weekly column on environment and climate issues in Indonesia, and I have to write every Saturday. And in June, I'm trying to find out information about sustainable gastronomy because I would like to write about sustainable gastronomy. So I searched the YouTube, and there was an event on Sustainable Gastronomy Day by the Future Food Institute, where Sarah Roversi, the founder and director of the Future Food Institute, was one of the speaker. And then there was also Peter Klosse from Taste. And then there was also Barella, representative from Barella, and also Sophie Egan, who wrote a book on, let me read, How to Be a Conscious Eater. And then there was an information about the Food and Climate Shaper Digital Bootcamp. And the application deadline was June 25th. So I sent the application a day before the deadline. So it was a rush process, and then and then I had to fill out a form and everything and submit some data, and I was fortunate that I was accepted. So that's how I did it.
Yeah, we were very fortunate that you were accepted too. I'm glad you got in there on time. Fantastic, Amanda. Thank you. And could you tell us a little bit about your own story, your path to becoming a climate reality leader? I know you mentioned you spoke with UNESCO just today already. I mean, just a little bit about the journey to where you are now, if you're comfortable.
Sure. So the Climate Reality Project is an organization founded by former US Vice President Al Gore, and its mission is to mainstream the climate crisis, its solutions and actions. So I've been active in the organization for 11 years actually. So yeah, part of the organization's volunteers are called climate reality leaders because they were trained in the climate issues and solutions and how to engage communities. So right now there are 31,000 volunteer climate reality leaders all over the world in 170 countries. But I started it in 2008. Now, beginning in 2015, I tried to find the relationship between the food system and climate, and so that I can do both, because I also have an organization that works on increasing the awareness of local food culture, especially. So I try to find the relationship between food and climate, and luckily, I really can use the food issue as a solution to the climate crisis, right?
Yes.
That's why I'm so happy when there's this opportunity with the Food and Climate Shaper of the Digital Bootcamp.
Yes, yes. And Amanda, have you always been passionate about these issues, or is this something that happened with time, or you've always wanted to work in this area to try and help the world with whatever you can?
So I've been I was trained as a biologist. So naturally, that would be the career path like almost 40 years ago. So
Okay.
so I was trained as a biologist, and then I expanded into environmental issues, plant ecology. So lots of interesting activities developed, right? But then the common thread is still environment. And in the last 12 years, climate issues become apparent. And Indonesia was host to the UN Climate Change Conference in 2007. And I was in my job at that time. I was active in that arena. So then it continues, lots and lots of new activities evolving actually.
Okay, wow, fantastic. And can I ask you a little bit about the actions that you take in Indonesia to foster culture and culinary art?
Actually, the most interesting activities would be public events. So with food, for example, food and climate, I usually started with information about the climate crisis and how food system or, our choices of food really can help address the issue. But then we have to have like food tasting, hands-on experience, trying some activities. So not only just slide presentations or conversations, but we have to see some props, some materials, and some activities, especially with various food and biodiversity in Indonesia. There are lots of things that you can do.
Yes, and do you find that the events are the most powerful way of getting the message across, would you say?
Yeah, yes. And I also write, of course, like I said, I write a weekly column, and then I've published some books, edited some books. So those are really helpful. What I really would like, besides the public events, is how to document those events and the materials exposed in those interesting activities. And I still have work to do on that because I'm not very good at, producing like 30 seconds video clips, compelling video clips, engaging video clips. That's what I really have to learn actually. Well,
Yeah,
not only me, but maybe ask some friends to really work together on that.
yeah. I'd say just some specialists or whatever might make your life a bit easier in that
Mm-hmm.
department. Yeah. And
Yeah.
So Amanda, going back to the boot camp, if I may, what were some of your main takeaways and some of your favorite aspects of the digital boot camp in July?
You know, I also would like your experience on that too, because it's 1 month long, and the time for Indonesia, you know, sometimes it's in the middle of the night, but
Yeah,
mostly in decent hours. But the materials covered, my goodness, especially the speakers, the international speakers from all over the world. I really love that. And also the local discoveries, the cooking together. But the keywords that I, really remember from those activities in the camp, which I repeat over and over in my other events or my other activities, are the international, interdisciplinary, and intergenerational activities. So I think
yeah.
those are the keywords of the success of the digital bootcamp. And then, of course, you are all very enthusiastic, and we make friends with, like, how many countries were there? 30 countries?
It was an awful lot anyway. Yeah, it was. I think we covered a quite a large scope of the map. Yeah, and actually, so there's another one happening at the end of this month, actually, as well. So,
Uh-huh.
so we're very excited about that. Yes, but going back to the boot camp, you asked for so my own takeaways as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. There was a lot of information, but I found that it was delivered in a way that didn't make it very difficult to digest all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
had a little bit of time for yourself in between the lessons and stuff to go through it
Yeah.
all. I
Mm-hmm.
love the people that I met. I think that there'll be some lasting friendships
Mm-hmm.
from
Mm-hmm.
that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And just the sort of I liked the purpose of it. You know, I thought that it gave me great purpose in a different way than I had perhaps been used to. So I liked that. And let me ask you, did you find it limiting in any way to be in an online environment as opposed to in physical, or what was your opinion on that?
No, it's better with this digital bootcamp because we get opportunities to meet with the figures in food, especially international figures. But I still find it not really difficult, but I have to catch up with a lot of the digital tools that we have to learn because there are new things that I really learned from the camp. I don't understand all, like, for example, what? Miro, whatever, the tools for our ecosystem thinking, all the terms. Not only the
Yeah,
terms, there are new terms that are not familiar for me. The design thinking, ecosystem. Well, I'm familiar with ecosystem in terms of environment, but not in terms of food system and the mind map and everything. And we have to do it fast, right? We have to learn the digital stuff as well as the substance, and then come up with our own ideas. And,
yeah.
and I'm not that young anymore.
Ah, no, well, you did great. You did absolutely great. You were one of the MVPs of the operation, from what I remember.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it was really fantastic. And when it finished, I almost felt hungry for more. I wanted to keep
Yes,
going with it.
yes,
Maybe like one day of sort of recovery, or just some one day of digestion, and then I would have loved to be thrown back into it and have classes every
yes,
day
yes, yes.
because it was fantastic. Yeah, and the so then jumping on to the final question here. What does your ideal food future look like? Quite a broad
Before,
question.
right, before I continue with that, I still would like to get back to the boot camp.
Please,
Remember,
yes.
we have to do a hackathon, right? Do you have
Yeah.
to, do you still active with your team, with your hackathon
Uh,
team?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. We're still developing it.
Right.
What?
So with us too, I really have a good team, in the hackathon, and
Yeah.
we work on food waste, food loss, and food waste. And yesterday there was the International Day of Food Loss and Food Waste.
Yes.
So the digital bootcamp might have ended, but not the friendship and not the efforts and not the hard work, because we still have to keep doing lots of things. So that's one related to the bootcamp. And I really would like to know what the others are doing and their results and their efforts and their hard work. So that's
Yes,
one.
and
And then, yeah. So,
uh,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, no. I was just going to say yes. I saw you yesterday in the digital convivium, correct? And you are part.
Right.
So you're in the Good Food Collective. Am I right?
The Good Food Collective. Right.
Yes.
It's a good team because we have Chef Radhika and Sarah from Lebanon working
Yeah.
on it, and we work until the middle of the night for that for several days.
So it's going to be a fantastic reunion. All of the hackathon teams, sharing their ideas and their progress and everything, for sure. And Amanda, while we're on the subject, may I ask you just a little bit more about the Good Food Collective and what your sort of, or what your objective is?
So the team is developing an app that could help food producers or farmers with their extra produce. Otherwise, it would become waste, right? And then
Yes.
also, the app is connecting the food producers with chefs and chefs who would like to use, unusual materials or new materials for their menu. And we
Yes.
are lucky because in the team we have Chef Radhika. She's from India and she's involved in the Chef's Manifesto. So she knows all about it. And in materials, we talk about ugly fruits and vegetables, about moringa, unusual plant diversity that could be considered as superfood. So
Wow.
that's really nice. But
Yeah.
the good thing about it is we get not really guidance, yeah, some guidance, and we can communicate with the Future Food Institute for more materials, more information, as well as insights.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Yeah, it's a beautiful concept. And geographically, are you focused on one particular area?
First in India, of course, because Chef Radhika is there, but then we hope to expand it to Lebanon and then to Indonesia because the team consists of members from Lebanon and Indonesia. And then hopefully it will expand to, many parts of the world.
And I imagine that it has the capacity to, because as was made clear yesterday, the whole notion and concept of food waste is being rethought. Thank God. So now I think we're going to see it far more mainstream, that food waste now, or the
Right.
old food waste, is now actually perfectly edible, with chefs like Chef Radhika, for example. I saw some examples of some of the dishes that she makes with the food waste, and it looks better than the conventional stuff. So I think there's a lot of capacity and potential there. And, so do you enjoy working on that as a sort of an extra piece of the boot camp that has continued with you? Is it something that gives you a little bit of extra joy in your professional life?
And extra work and extra stress. Oh, God. Yeah.
but but I guess the type of work and stress isn't, if it's something useful and something that you care about, then it's not so bad as
Yeah.
the opposite. Yeah, yeah.
Of course. I agree with you. Um,
So
yeah, you have question about this my future in food. What was your question again?
sorry. So your sort of ideal vision of the future with regards to food, so even food access and everything, what would be your perfect situation, your perfect food future? How does it look? Even a utopian style, or whatever comes to mind. What would be your idealistic view of the future with regard to food?
Of course, my concern right now is to increase the awareness of consuming local food in Indonesia.
Yeah.
And, you know, Indonesia is an archipelago with more than 17,000 islands, big and small. And you can imagine the biodiversity and the food diversity. There is an organization that is collecting information on the types and recipes of food from all over Indonesia. And
Wow.
right now, the numbers that they have, you know, they said that there are about more than 35,000 types of traditional food and drink in Indonesia.
Wow.
And the number keeps adding up, of course. And I'm thinking it would be ideal to really understand how this local food can help with can help reduce emission. You know, and then there are lots of materials, you know, climate friendly materials and gluten free materials, because we are not using wheat flour back in the old days, and we are not using refined sugar, for example. We are using palm sugar and sweetener from plants. So trying to find out how we can relate this site-specific traditional food and how they can help reduce carbon emission, hence addressing climate change. I have worked with several organizations in several areas in Indonesia, trying to identify the types of traditional food that can help the cause. But then, of course, we understand that there are food innovation. Now, that's what I would like to know more, especially from the Future Food Institute. So not only talking about traditional food, but what can you do, you know, with the knowledge, the materials that you have, but while still protecting the environment. So, and I'm open to ideas of new things that will come up, you know, in the near future.
Yes. And so, I mean, how do you think that could be achieved? It's a very sort of geographic specific issue, really, isn't it? Because, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
biodiversity that's available in certain areas isn't available in others, and vice
Mm-hmm.
versa. Is there any way you can see like that becoming perhaps less of an issue without, you know, adding to the pollution of transportation and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that? Are, like one of the concepts from the boot camp of dormant resources was one of my favorite that was brought up in one of the last sessions by Professor Lorenzoni. And just the notion of basically there are a number of dormant, unused resources everywhere around us. Do you think that there are in some places these dormant resources that perhaps in the future we will capitalize on, and it
Mm-hmm.
might? Yeah. Well, what's your opinion on that, if I may ask?
Yeah, of course, there are so many dormant resources, or those who have been utilized maybe 50 or 100 years ago, but it's not popular anymore. So to really work on the issue, I work in certain areas first, you know, because otherwise it would be difficult. So many opportunities. So I'm concentrating in one area. My parents' hometown, for example, it's in the north part of the country, and do some intense communications with there. So I built an ecosystem there, and try to really learn to analyze the materials with them, and how can we do, or how can we identify the variety of the culinary delights in that area, and whether how could we help the communities there understand that they're actually food heroes. They don't know that what they are doing is really helping the earth. So trying to encourage them to keep maintaining what they're doing, giving
Yeah.
them the opportunities to get the knowledge. So it's digital now, so it's easier actually. But I'm consistent working with them. But while working with them, you know, some areas learn about what we do or what I do, and they ask for help. So now we are expanding to several areas of the country. We cannot cover all the 17,000 islands, obviously, but there is progress.
That's great though that you're expanding. Did you find that it took a long time for you to sort of get these partners and get this momentum moving in the right direction?
Yeah, it took me several years actually, but
Yeah.
we just have to be consistent, you know, in building and maintaining our ecosystem. So, what's your understanding on the ecosystem, food ecosystem at the Future Food Institute? Enlighten us.
Oh, yes. Oh, well, I think it's just incredibly progressive. I mean, all of these insights. So, in the boot camp, we were exposed to a number of the insights that are, their sort of ecosystem that they're building. I know that it's definitely spreading to quite a global reach. So, the hope would be that, there'll be ambassadors around the world and everything that can perhaps make the change at ground level, which is great. Also, there was the in-person boot camp in Polica. I don't know if you followed or if you saw
Oh,
any of
I
the.
followed that, and I'm so envious of you all.
Don't worry, your chance will come for sure. That will be again next year. There's an institution based around the Mediterranean diet that will open up there. I won't say too much about that just yet, but the main sort of kind of takeaway from that was just the power and the concept of the Mediterranean diet in particular, and if that could be made sort of accessible to all by some means or in some variation, it would be great because, for example, we spoke with a number of older individuals there who were like in their, I spoke with one lady who was 99 years old, for
Mm.
example, and she was full of life and energy, more so than me at the time. So I was thinking, I've got no excuse, so full of energy, full of life, full of happiness, and it sort of can be summarized down to the style of life. It's quite unstressful, and also the food that they eat is fantastic. It's nearly all local, from what I could gather, was very local, literally growing in their gardens, and just heavy on the fruit and veg, low on meat and stuff like that. Now, so that's a very powerful concept, and I love that. But the issue, of course, is making it accessible in parts of the
Mm-hmm.
world where these
Right.
fruits
Mm-hmm.
just don't grow. So how can you sort of incorporate somebody into the Mediterranean diet if they don't have the food at their
Mm-hmm.
disposal? So I would say this is something that will be tackled in the coming weeks, months, years. I would say the sort of spreading of this and finding ways in which we can get this sort of diet, this healthy diet, or at least the principles or whatever we can spread to the right people. And I'll be interested myself to see how this can be achieved. But
Right.
from an ecosystem perspective, I can just say that there's very, very progressive work being done with a very sort of forward-thinking mindset, as Future Food would indicate, and yeah, it's powerful stuff. The what kind of so as like a new member of the team, and my introduction was in the boot camp, and this Polica boot camp was where I met the team. I've got a lot of faith in these guys because the
Mm-hmm.
the team the team are all. I don't know if you've met any of the team in person, but they're fantastic individuals who are all purpose driven. They're all very empathetic. They're all very sort of innovative, forward thinking people, and yeah, I'm privileged and very happy to be a part of the group. And the alumni are very, very much part of the group. I mean, I started as an alumni, for example, So the inclusive nature of Future Food, I think, is definitely something that's going to make the right change going forward.
Right. I met them digitally, of course, digitally.
Yes, yes, yeah,
Yeah, and hoping to really extend the network and keep continuing work with the Future Food Institute. And what I like most is, the expansion of the network. Not only from Europe but also from other parts of the countries. And I would like to really raise the visibility of Indonesian food system. Right now,
yeah,
I'm
for sure.
working with Gorontalo on a certain local food, but I would like to expand in more areas of Indonesia, and then perhaps using the example of the Mediterranean boot camp, and find the specifics of such ingredients or such enthusiasm in Indonesia, not necessarily Mediterranean diet, right?
Yes, the Indonesian diet, whatever is the sort of closest version, I guess, to the
Mm-hmm.
Mediterranean diet, or that concept, but based
Mm-hmm.
on where you are. So, I mean, I'm sure that there is a variation on the Indonesian diet based on
Mm-hmm.
what you have available, and that
Mm-hmm.
you can make a concept around that. Yeah, and I know that the Future Food Network will be delighted to work with you, because you were a very, very sort of fundamental part of the boot camp. You added a lot of positivity and innovation to the group, so thank you for that. And thank you for this chat, Amanda, because we're after running over the time, and I don't want to take any more of your time. You've been very generous with it. So in this case, I will just leave it here. So thanks a million, Amanda, for joining us.
Thank you, Jeff. Looking forward to meet you again.
Yes, yes, you too for sure. Hopefully in person at some point.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
Thanks a million, Amanda. Take care. And just to the audience here, I will just remind you that the next Food is a Conversation Alumni Edition will be on Tuesday, the 6th of October at 6:30 p.m. CET, and we hope to see you there. So thank you once more, Amanda, and have a fantastic day.
Thank you.